My nanny's daughter is naturally dressed up. Every time she attends an occasion, she dresses more gorgeously than me, a genuine. At my engagement dinner, she cut off all my evening dresses and dressed up to attend, becoming the focus of the audience. Everyone said that she was more like the heroine of the dinner. My fiancé fell in love with her at first sight, and the two secretly made a lifelong promise. After I knew the truth, I forcibly separated them. Finally, my parents I was framed to death, and I was drowned by them in the sea for a while. I went back to the day when the nanny's daughter picked up my clothes. Looking at her smiling and picking up my clothes sickly, I also laughed. Come on, I'm a rich man. How dare you fight with me? Back to the villa. The uncle said that all the high-end dresses in the cloakroom upstairs had been artificially damaged to varying degrees, and there was no way to wear them. Just like in the previous life, I stood at the door of the cloakroom, looked at the mess and scattered clothes all over the room, and calmly told my uncle to call the police. I was so angry with all the clothes to attend the formal occasion. I hurriedly put on a skirt and drove to my engagement banquet. As a result, there was a traffic jam on the road. When I ran into the banquet hall, I saw that Su Shaoxiao, who was full of spring breeze, had become the focus of everyone. After marriage, he took advantage of my father's trust in him, entered the senior management of the company, smuggled through illegal channels and blamed my father. I rushed to the banquet hall with the policeman and pushed open the door of the banquet hall. The scene in front of me was exactly the same as in the previous life. Su Shaoxiao was surrounded by people. He was wearing my lilac evening dress, and the soft fabric set off his figure more and more slender. Rigorous and Zizihao were like two flower messengers, one left and one right. By his side, it was as if the stars were holding the moon. The only difference was that my parents in the last life were calling me in a hurry, and at this time, because I was in advance, explained the situation and asked them not to act rashly. So the two just sat quietly in their seats and watched everything that happened. In the banquet hall with cold eyes, seeing the police, Su Shaoxiao was a little stunned. Yes, it was me. Someone called the police and said that you were suspected of destroying and stealing other people's property. Please go back with us for investigation. I turned my head to look at a policeman. My sports car was indeed missing. The maids at home said that they had not touched my car, and many clothes in my cloakroom were damaged to varying degrees. I had arranged for someone to pick up the surveillance copies at home, and it would be clear at a glance who did it. Besides, even if I am unkind, it's not your turn to preside over justice. You are wearing my clothes now and getting so close to my fiancé. What kind of justice do you call? Hearing me say this, everyone's eyes were focused on the evening dress he was wearing. He is an illegitimate son who was accidentally left by Yan Fuhai, the current male protagonist of the Yan family. When he was fooling around outside, Yan Fu also heard me call his name in public, so he had to step forward and apologize with a fierce glare. Yan Jing's mother came over and secretly twisted him, but he still didn't respond. Zizihao, who had been silent, suddenly opened his mouth. Dad, shut up. Look at your worthless appearance. My father looked at him coldly, like a penguin begging for food in a zoo. You lost my face. The surveillance at home clearly showed that Su Shaoxiao walked into my cloakroom, picked up my evening dress and went out. When he appeared in the surveillance screen again, he had already put it on. He opened the wardrobe dedicated to my dress, picked up the scissors and cut it one by one. In the police station, he begged me to forgive Zilong with tears in his eyes. I knew I was wrong. I just wanted to make a joke with you. I didn't want to ruin your engagement banquet. Can you forgive me? What I don't like most in the male circle is that he is a wild seed of unknown origin. Although he was taken back home, he did not realize the freedom of wealth, and naturally no one would lend him money except me. But what I didn't expect was that Su Shaoxiao still had enough money. The mobile phone informed me that 53万 yuan had arrived, and I immediately signed the mediation agreement happily. The younger brother Zizihao transferred it to Su Shaoxiao. He just cried and shouted, "Aha!" on the phone and transferred the money to Su Shaoxiao's bank card. Looking at Zi Zaihao, who was hugging Su Shaoxiao, I was so angry. What's the difference between this and putting my own money? From the left to the right. What's more angry is that he actually brought Su Shaoxiao back home in a dignified place. When I went downstairs, I saw Su Shaoxiao in the restaurant clinging to Zi Zaihao like a western fish. The two of them saw me showing the same enemy's expression at the same time, as if I had sent Su Shaoxiao to the police station for nothing. When Wu's mother in the kitchen saw me going downstairs, she directly gave me a back of the head and cleaned up the kitchen by herself. This was to vent her anger for her daughter and planned to give me a horse. Mom stood on the second floor, looking at the ground condescendingly. I stayed upstairs for a long time. Since you don't want to work in our Z family, why don't you just resign? Wu's mother was not tough this time and hurriedly explained, "Madam, I didn't mean that." I also felt sorry for the young lady, afraid that she would suffer losses outside. So it was Wu Ma, that's right. It was my sister's unreasonable attitude. This matter was originally her fault. Seeing that his mother was angry, he didn't dare to make a second. He stared at me with hatred and got up and went back to his room. When he passed by me, he whispered, "Zizilang, you wait for me." But I didn't hide it well. What I want is to make him angry. It's interesting to torture him like this. What she said made my heart bloom. That's great. You should go home and tell your parents that we are going to withdraw from the marriage. My parents' side will also make it clear to them. We will break up and no one will owe anyone in the future. How about you take your Yangguang road and I cross my wooden bridge? In the past, if Rigorous said this, I would definitely immediately run to Su Shaoxiao to apologize to him and pray for his forgiveness. I looked at his finger that was almost on my nose. I couldn't help it. I reached out and grabbed the finger and pouted it hard. There was a crackling sound in his hand. The policeman immediately covered his hand and squatted on the ground in pain. I took out the baseball bat I had prepared in advance and greeted him fiercely. Rigorously fell to the ground, covering the finger that was broken by me, holding his head and wailing how embarrassed it was. After fighting for a long time, I was angry, and then I threw away the stick in my hand. "Get out. Next time you dare to try to compare with me, I will waste your life." Rigorous was slightly swollen all over and stared at me with hatred. Seeing that I took up the stick again, he limped and ran away. I raised my eyebrows. What's the point of being reluctant? If you kill a dog you don't have, you can kill it. If he really dares to marry me, I really want to admire him. This beating was suffered by him. He lied that he fell into the elevator shaft, which was beating me up. He covered up the past. In a short time, he had no energy to jump in front of me. So I pointed the finger at Su Shaoxiao and his mother. In terms of embarrassing people, my uncle was definitely a worm in my stomach. Let's cooperate. It must be almost seamless. Wilma, I want to eat coarse noodles of fish balls. I like to eat crucian carp. When the fish is bought, the thorns must be shaved clean and then beaten into puree. Don't blow me up. My requirements are getting more and more excessive. My mother saw that the workload in the past 2 days increased by 1800 month on month and 2300 year on year. She was so tired that she finally couldn't help it. It broke out, but it was not to entertain me. So Su Shaoxiao's nightmare came. Uncle Gangwu not only kicked him out of the second bedroom next door, but also asked him to move into the laundry room downstairs. I even treated him directly as a little baby at home and asked him to do this and that. Su Shaoxiao finally couldn't help it. She threw the cloth to wipe the fish pond in front of me. And then I realized that you were talking nonsense. I looked straight into his eyes. Either wipe the swimming pool for me by tomorrow or get out of here. Dad held a thick pile of photos in his hand. When he saw him coming in, he threw the photos directly on his face. How did I give birth to such a loser as you? Looking at the good things you have done. Zizaihao picked up the photo with a dazed face, just glanced at it and looked at me with hatred. I am your close to your father. Zizilang, I'm not done with you. Zi Zihao was so scared that he rolled and crawled to the ground. I curled my lips secretly. He was so bold that he dared to open a casino. I thought he was so bold. I pretended to ask inadvertently, "Where did you find it?" When the police came, Wu's mother cried so much that she fainted several times. Wu's mother is expected to stay in it for several years this time. When Su Shaoxiao arrived at the police station, she saw Wu's mother who had been handcuffed. The separation of mother and daughter was very tearful. I went to the toilet twice in an awkward way. The acting was too diuretic. When I came out of the toilet, Su Shaoxiao was completely fierce. She looked at me as if she was going to eat people. Zizilang, we are not done with this matter. You wait for me. Your brother and your fiancé are on my side. How much weight do you think the loach in the mud pit can turn over? Su Shaoxiao's words woke me up. Although I was hit hard by me, I didn't turn over. My current situation was still not so optimistic, so I bought a big bouquet of roses to say Yanjing again. I'm sorry. I did too much before. I couldn't live without you. I cared about you too much. I held Huogui and cried in front of the bed scene. But Yueluo was not moved at all until I took out a bank card from my pocket. It doesn't matter if you don't forgive me. I have 6,000,000 yuan in my card, which is all my pocket money. I will give it to you. Rigorously snorted coldly and snatched the card from my hand. For the sake of your sensibleness, I will spare you this time. Rigorous's eyes lit up. What you said was true. Rigorously took the bank card and kissed and hurriedly went to Su Shaoxiao to relive the old dream. She didn't know that Su Shaoxiao had been taken to live in the house outside him by Zi Zijin, which was now like the Eden of the two of them. As soon as Yanjing left, the maid at home called Zi Zihao. Young master, it's not good. The young lady took a few strong men out. I vaguely heard the young lady say that it seemed to be the house you bought in the general's house, and said that she wanted to make someone look good. You should go back and have a look. I pressed the answer button and Zizihao's angry voice sounded. Zizilang, you dare to move a little finger. I'm endless with you. I'm your own sister. What can you do to me? I gave an order to the strong man who didn't exist around me to go upstairs to kill the little lady. After saying that, I hung up the phone directly. Zizihao and Yanjing fought and they beat each other badly. I turned on the shield outside Zizihao's house in advance. He couldn't get through Su Shaoang's phone, so he had to rush back in a hurry. As a result, he rushed upstairs to save the beauty. But the first time he opened the door, he heard the sound of Yanjing and Su Shaoang during the storm. A large number of media seemed to smell it. The wonderful moment of Zihao and Yanjing's fight was faithfully recorded by the camera in the hands of the media friends. Su Shaoxiao stood not far away and shouted heartbreakingly, don't fight again. My face was full of tears, endured great pain, and the camera of staggering into the car did not escape the eyes of the media. Now everyone knows that Yan's son gave birth to his fiancé, a greenhead to his future brother-in-law. Love, I sat in the car and looked at the three people surrounded by reporters behind me. I took out a paper towel to wipe the tears in my eyes. Uncle Gong's eyes fell on my face through the rearview mirror. The young lady was really good at acting. I closed my eyes in pain. Oh my god, this onion was too spicy. After all, I am very affectionate and rigorous to you. And I am so anxious that I can't speak incoherently. I'm like this. I raised my head to prevent my tears from falling. Since he seduced you, you can go online to clarify that Su Shaoxiao is a rotten person. He dragged you. In fact, you don't like him at all. My tears flowed down my cheeks. Rigorous, you are still lying to me. You really let me, the Yan family's biological son, who was already in the center of the storm, became the focus now. The expected network violence overwhelmingly rushed towards him. An illegitimate son was playing so smoothly in the rich family circle. It's really dirtier than the entertainment circle. He is what's in the bowl and looks at what's in the pot. This is the #1 scumbag in the world. On the Xiamen Kingbei, you have to hear that your own mother is a junior. This is a true legend. It's really a family inheritance. that Su Shaoxiao is not a good thing. Stepping on two boats is a bitch who can be accepted by himself. In the face of the impenetrable royal violence, the Yan family became the target of the public for a while. It was pointed out by Chengfu, and the scumbag's betrayal made the Yan family even more unstable. I wish Mr. Yanjing and Miss Su Shaoxiao in advance that they can have a lover and eventually become a family, get along well for 100 years, give birth to a noble son early, grow old together, and continue to work hard and create more glory. I finished reading the manuscript with a sad face and left the scene with tears in my eyes. Regardless of the media's retention, I looked at him in shock. Zizai, you're crazy. There are no other women in the world. Su Shaoxiao slept with Yanjing, but she was still in your bed. You also want such second-hand goods. Are you not sick? Mom looked at her disappointedly and arranged a blind date for him early. After learning of Yanjing's death, Su Shaoxiao decisively cut off the relationship with him and directly blocked all of Yan Jing's contact information. So I thoughtfully found someone to call the police, saying that it was illegal for someone to engage in prostitution in the hotel. Although the last two people were released after being questioned at the police station, this matter was still widely rumored. The blind date arranged for Zihao before was a famous and unruly young lady in the rich circle. When he learned that Zihao was caught in a room with someone, the young lady directly brought people to his house to make a big fuss, and even asked people to rush in with a bulldozer. So Zihao was tied up and sent to my private plane. Before takeoff, I quietly raised the captain's salary, so the captain thoughtfully changed the destination to Alaska. After Zihao went abroad, the depressed Yanjing came to me again. He was wearing a clean suit, but his beard was shaggy, and he was obviously not doing well. I looked at him coldly. It's not good. The corners of his mouth twitched and he almost cried. So what do you want me to do to believe me? Rigorous. When your upper lip touches your lower lip, there is no sign at all. It's just hair, empty gloves, white wolf. How can you believe that you are a prodigal son? A strange light flashed in Rigorous's eyes. He looked at me with burning eyes as if he had made a huge decision. Zilang, don't worry, I will let you see my sincerity. Yanjing rented a luxury yacht to ask Su Shaoxiao out. When the yacht was docked, only Yanjing was left on the boat. He threw Su Shaoxiao into the sea. There was no one alive and no body dead. In front of the iron evidence, Yanjing had no excuse and could only bow his head to admit the fact that he had killed. Because of the intentional killing, Yanjing was by the time I got his news. He had gone crazy and was transferred to a mental hospital for treatment. I nodded and turned away with satisfaction. Oben, sit in the car, and my uncle looks at me through the rearview mirror. Miss, where are we going next? I leaned comfortably on my seat and went back to the company. There is still a board of directors in the afternoon. All right, miss.